Okay, let's just jump right into a situation. A really high-pressure one.
Oh, I like these.
Imagine you have a medical emergency. You've
Yeah.
got this sudden, sharp pain,
Yeah.
and you have to communicate that it's urgent. Like right now,
Urgent
urgent.
nurse at the front desk.
To the triage nurse, exactly.
Yeah.
And remember, you're an A1, maybe A2 level English learner. So you're reaching for your best textbook English. You need to sound clear, but you also need them to know this is serious. Go.
Okay, I can do this. Greetings, esteemed medical practitioner. I am reporting to this emergency facility today because I am experiencing severe discomfort in the area of my lower right quadrant.
Fair?
I characterize this sensation as a dull, continuous ache of variable intensity within the abdominal cavity.
Oh boy.
While I admit the condition is notably unpleasant, I assure you there is no immediate necessity for swift intervention. I shall await further instructions patiently, with a respectful posture.
Stop. Yep. Please
Yeah.
freeze right there.
Yeah. What happened? Did I use all the correct polysyllabic words? I studied abdominal cavity for hours. I thought that was the key.
You sounded polite, you sounded meticulous, and you sounded completely and utterly confusing.
Oh, no.
If you actually said that, the nurse would probably write down mild gastrointestinal event, and maybe patient is overly formal, and then you'd be waiting until next Tuesday to be seen.
Next Tuesday. But I thought complexity equaled seriousness. I used Latin root words and everything.
And that right there is the huge disconnect we are diving into today. Textbook English, it often gives you these words that sound so impressive, but they completely fail in these high-stakes moments.
So my fancy words didn't work.
They didn't. When your health is on the line,
Yeah.
you don't need academic precision. You need functional clarity. You need urgency. And for everyone listening, have you ever been in a moment like that? A high-stakes moment talking to a doctor, a nurse, a pharmacist, and you just feel that crushing anxiety when you realize your English isn't working. It's not communicating how you really feel.
I think we've all been there.
Welcome back to Global English Podcast, the place where we learn English effectively by, well, skipping all the boring parts.
And have fun doing it. I'm Taylor, ready to replace my textbook robot vocabulary.
And I'm Jordan. Our mission today is absolutely critical. We are going to dive deep into the source material, all the language guides, the health forums, real-world communication strategies, and we're going to replace those confusing, slow phrases
With what?
with genuine high-impact words and phrases, the kind that ensure you are understood instantly when your health, or the health of someone you love, is on the line.
So we're moving from like academic theories straight to life-saving communication, and we have to do it fast.
That's the plan. But before we fix this mess and teach you the language of a real emergency, please hit like and subscribe to Global English Podcast right now. Your support really helps us keep bringing you this critical, real-world language that actually works.
Okay, let's fix me. Why did my roleplay go so wrong?
Okay, so let's unpack that failure. The roleplay failed because health communication is probably the most high-stakes, transactional English a beginner ever has to use.
You used two interesting words there, transactional and urgent. What do you mean by that? How is it different from, say, ordering a coffee?
That's a great question. When we say it's transactional, we mean the conversation has a critical, immediate goal. You're not just making small talk.
Right. I need something.
You need a specific outcome. Information, a prescription, a diagnosis, or immediate help. And there's a real consequence if that transaction fails.
So if my language fails.
The medical process can stop. Or even worse, a misunderstanding could lead to the wrong treatment. The stakes aren't just academic, they're physical and financial.
Okay, that's heavy.
And then there's the urgent part. Something hurts now. A fever is spiking now. And all that stress, that complexity, it creates this huge internal pressure. And that feeling, the complexity, the stress, that sudden inability to remember even simple English words when you're worried. Language experts actually have a name for that.
The panic. The brain freeze. That's what I call it.
It's close. They call it a high affective filter.
Affective filter. Okay, what's that?
Think of it like mental static, a kind of noise in your brain that's caused by stress and anxiety. When that static gets really loud, when the filter is high, It literally blocks your ability to process and produce language, even the simple phrases you actually know perfectly well.
So if I'm stressed and my affective filter is through the roof, I go back to broken English, like, here, very pain.
You absolutely nailed it. And that leads us to this really crucial lesson from a real-world story. We heard about a listener named Maria. It was in the source material we looked at, and she had this truly terrible stomach pain.
Oh,
She
no.
went to the hospital all alone, terrified. And because her English was, fragmented, the only functional phrase she could remember under all that stress was, here, very pain.
That's heartbreaking. She was in severe pain, but she just couldn't get it across.
Exactly. And because the staff didn't understand the severity, they just heard this fragmented A1 English, which can sometimes suggest a minor issue. They made her wait
How long?
4 agonizing hours.
4 hours. That's awful.
And not only did she suffer, but the delayed treatment ended up being more expensive. She got a much bigger medical bill than if she'd been seen right away.
Okay, that must never happen to our listeners. So what is the one tool to cut through that affective filter? How do we communicate that urgency?
It comes down to one word: precision. You need urgency vocabulary that nurses are trained to recognize. So instead of saying it is bad or very pain, she should have used the clinical metric that cuts through all language barriers.
The scale, the 1 to 10 scale.
Yes, the power phrase you need is, I have severe abdominal pain. First, use a strong word like severe instead of bad. And then, here's the magic phrase that signals immediate attention. It is 9 out of 10 on the pain scale.
9 out of 10. That just is, it sounds so precise. It's a number, not just an opinion.
It's absolute. That number instantly triggers critical protocol in their minds. A nurse doesn't need to speak your language perfectly to know that a 9 or a 10 means an acute, serious situation that needs immediate attention.
Okay, let's practice this. Give me a scenario.
You're at the reception desk, and your back pain is unbearable. What do you say?
Okay, my back is hurting so much. I think the pain is a 9 out of 10.
Perfect. What if you suddenly get this terrible pain in your head?
I have a sudden severe headache. I would rate it an 8 or 9 out of 10.
Do you see how that number just forces their attention? This is functional, critical language for beginners, and it's so much more important than knowing how to say abdomen. Remember, severe pain, 9 out of 10.
That is a real aha moment. It's about taking this subjective feeling, this pain, and turning it into objective data.
You got it. And this focus on accessibility, on managing the anxiety of these high-stakes moments, it leads us right to the next idea, which is scaffolding.
Scaffolding, like the supports you put on a building while you're constructing it.
That's the perfect analogy. We're building your English skills, but we need to support them with the right kind of input. Language theory tells us that we learn best with something called comprehensible input.
Comprehensible input. Okay.
It basically means the English you listen to should be just a little bit beyond your current level, the famous I+1 rule. But it has to stay accessible so your brain can actually process it without getting totally overwhelmed.
Right, so if I'm at an A1 level, don't give me like an advanced surgical textbook to read.
Please don't. And in the world of learning with your ears, the main way that good resources manage this, how they reduce the cognitive load, is by playing with the speed.
You mean just talking more slowly?
Exactly. Intentionally slow, measured speech is the primary scaffolding for beginners. We know from analyzing resources like Voice of America Learning English that their health and medical stories are deliberately read about 1/3 slower than a standard conversational pace.
Wow, 1/3. That's a huge conscious choice they're making for the listener.
It's a core strategy. That slower speed reduces the mental effort you need to process new or unfamiliar medical words. It lets them introduce terms like nauseous or prescription in a way that's manageable, so the input stays comprehensible and way less stressful.
So we should look for resources that use a slower pace, and maybe we should also remember to speak slowly ourselves in those stressful medical situations.
That is the essential takeaway. Speed is the enemy of clarity when the stakes are that high.
Okay, I'm ready to upgrade. Let's start with the most common thing ever.
The common cold. Okay, so the basic phrase, I have a cold, is perfectly fine. It's correct. but native speakers often use more idiomatic, natural-sounding language.
Let me guess what my textbook says. I have contracted a common respiratory infection.
Textbook robot, is that you again?
It's me!
Much more natural way to say it, one that implies the process of getting sick, is, I caught a cold.
Caught a cold. I like that. It's like the cold was flying through the air and I snagged it.
That's the feeling, yeah. It just means you became sick with a mild illness. Now, what if you feel a bit worse? Maybe you have a slight fever, some body aches, and you think, this might be more than just a cold.
I need to signal that it's getting more serious.
Right. A slightly stronger phrase we use is, I think I'm coming down with the flu.
Coming down with the flu. That phrase is great. It suggests it's just starting, that I'm at the beginning of the illness. That's really clear communication for a doctor.
Exactly. And now for the really awkward one. Feeling sick to your stomach. We have to get rid of the clumsy descriptions.
You mean like, my digestive tract is rebellious, and I may shortly need to purge the contents of my ingestion.
That would definitely get you attention, but probably not the medical kind. The high-impact word you need when you feel like you might vomit is simply, I feel nauseous.
Nauseous, got it. Simple, one word. Efficient.
Very efficient. Or, if your head is spinning, if the room feels like it's moving and you feel unsteady, which can be a very serious symptom. The key word is, I feel dizzy.
Dizzy. When I feel like I might fall over.
Okay, I see it now. These simple, accurate words are so much more powerful than long, complicated descriptions.
All right, let's turn this into a game. We're playing the upgrade game. I'll give you a common medical situation. You give me your best, funny, sometimes wrong guess.
I am an expert at the wrong guess.
And then I'll give the power phrase that everyone listening needs to remember. Let's embed these phrases in your memory right now.
Okay, I'm ready to be the chaos agent. Let's do it.
Game round 1. Describing physical pain accurately. The situation is you're trying to tell the doctor where the pain is, and they need to know if it's a deep internal ache or more of a sharp muscle type pain. So what's the rule for describing pain in your legs?
Okay, based on what I know, if I have a pain in my head, it's a headache. So if I have a pain in my leg, I have a leg ache.
Ah, and that is the logical mistake almost everyone makes. It makes perfect sense because, headache and stomach ache, but it just sounds unnatural in English. It's confusing.
So there's a rule. There's a functional rule, a kind of unwritten rule we all follow.
Yeah.
And it's surprisingly consistent. The rule is this. You use ache for specific, common, continuous pains, usually in your head and torso. But you use the verb hurts for your limbs and other areas.
So the location of the pain actually changes the word I use.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So for those contained, dull, continuous pains, the power phrases are, I have a headache, I have a stomach ache, I have an earache, and I have a backache. See how they're all in the center of the body.
Head, stomach, ear, back. Got it. All aches. But wait, what about your chest? You don't say chest ache? That sounds really weird. Why is that one different?
That is an excellent, excellent question. It's a key point of confusion. You never say chest ache. For that, you always use the word pain. I have chest pain.
Why?
Because any sensation in the chest, near the heart or lungs, is treated with higher seriousness. The word pain communicates a higher level of urgency than ache. It's a critical distinction.
Wow. Okay, so chest pain signals a potential emergency. And what about my poor leg ache?
For your leg, your arms, your neck, any general muscle soreness, the power phrase is simply hurts. My leg hurts. My neck hurts. My arm hurts.
Okay, let me try this. If I spent all day lifting heavy boxes and my muscles feel tired and overworked, I could say, my body is sore, or maybe my muscles ache.
Perfect. You even brought in the word sore, which is fantastic for muscle strain. But if you twist your ankle while running...
My ankle hurts.
Yes. Let's try a quick dialogue to lock it in. So, how's that injury you got?
Oh, my back hurts a lot, but thankfully I only have a slight headache.
Flawless. That simple distinction makes you sound so much clearer and more natural in a medical setting. Okay, game round 2. Talking duration and chronicity. The situation. The doctor needs to know if your problem started a minute ago or if it's been going on for 5 days. They need the history of the symptom.
I see. So I would just use the simple past tense, right? My stomach hurt yesterday.
And that is grammatically correct, but in a medical conversation, it's actually a bit dangerous.
Dangerous. Why?
The simple past implies that the action started and ended in the past. If you say, my stomach hurt yesterday, the doctor might think it stopped hurting today.
Oh, wow. I did not realize the tense carried that much functional meaning. So if the pain is continuous, I have to connect the past to the present.
You absolutely must. The functional upgrade here is to use the present perfect tense. Now, we're not going to get lost in the grammar rules. We're just going to focus on the function. This structure clearly tells the doctor that an issue started in the past and is still happening right now.
The ongoing issue upgrade, I love it. So how do I build it?
You use two specific, super valuable little words, depending on whether you're talking about the starting point or the total time.
Okay.
Your first critical word is since. You use since to talk about the starting point, a specific moment in time.
Can you give me an example?
I've had this cough since Monday. Or, I've been feeling sick since lunch.
Okay, so since gives the doctor the exact starting point on the timeline.
Precisely. Now, your second critical word is for. You use for to talk about the duration, the total amount of time.
So if Monday was 3 days ago, I'd use for to describe that whole period.
Exactly. I've been feeling tired for 3 days. Or, I've had this fever for 48 hours. This tells the doctor the total time the symptom has lasted, which is so important for their diagnosis.
This is truly foundational medical English. It takes us from just reporting a fact to actually helping with the medical history.
Okay, let's practice. Say you've had a headache all morning.
I've had a headache since this morning.
And what if you've been feeling tired for a whole week?
I've been feeling tired for a week now. Perfect.
Game round 3.
Hmm.
Medical transactions and dosage. This one is extremely high stakes. You're at the pharmacy or the chemist in the UK, you're filling a prescription, and you have to understand exactly how and when to take your new medicine. A small misunderstanding could be very harmful.
Okay, high precision needed. I would probably try to ask, should I consume this substance frequently?
That's faintly funny, but also fatally lethal. Dosage language has to be incredibly precise. This is something that all the major English guides for medical learners emphasize. Small mistakes in frequency can have huge health consequences.
You're right. I need formulaic, technical language here, no room for confusion.
Absolutely. Pharmacists use very standardized phrases. Let's focus on the four most common frequency terms. First, once daily.
Easy. One time every 24 hours.
Next,
Hmm.
twice daily. This usually means morning and evening.
2 times a day, got it.
Right. And then 3 times daily, usually morning, afternoon, and night.
Hmm.
And finally, 4 times daily, which is often about every 6 hours.
Wow. So if I hear the word daily, I have to listen for the number before it. Take 1 tablet 3 times daily.
Perfect. Now let's talk about timing. This is all about food and how the medicine interacts with your stomach.
Right. I've seen these instructions before.
So you might hear, take 1 pill after each meal. This is very common for medicine that shouldn't be on an empty stomach.
Okay, after food.
Or you might hear the opposite. Take 1 pill before meals. This is for medicine that needs to be absorbed quickly.
And then there's the other one.
Take 1 pill with food. This is a bit less strict. It just means have something in your stomach. But you can see how the difference between after, before, and with is absolutely critical.
I really do. Taking a pill before a meal when you were told to take it after could cause a really bad stomach upset. The precision here is non-negotiable.
For sure. And we need a quick vocabulary spotlight here. Remember, to get medicine, you need a prescription from a doctor.
The official paper.
Right. And you might be getting tablets, which are the solid round pills, or maybe lozenges, which are more like medicated throat sweets.
Yeah.
And most importantly, you have to be ready for the allergy question.
Ah, yes. Are you allergic to any medicine?
Exactly. If you are, you need to be able to say, I am allergic to penicillin, for example. That's high-stakes, life-saving English. Okay, final round. Game round 4. daily wellness habits. We're moving beyond sickness. The situation is, you're just talking about how you stay healthy, your diet, your exercise. You want to sound natural and conversational.
Easy. I am avoiding bad food.
And that's technically correct,
Yeah.
but also a little awkward and rigid. Native speakers rarely talk in absolutes like avoiding. We tend to use language that shows effort, process, and moderation.
Okay, so give me the natural-sounding power phrases for health goals.
For your diet, instead of avoiding, you'd say something like, I'm cutting down on sugar. This means you're actively reducing the amount over time.
Cutting down on. I like that. It sounds less extreme.
It is. Or you could say something even more general like, I'm trying to eat better. It shows you're making an effort, but you're not perfect.
That sounds much more human.
It's all about balance and moderation. You can say, I eat healthy most days, but I still allow myself a treat on the weekend. Now for exercise, instead of the formal I exercise, we almost always use a phrasal verb.
Let me guess. I work out.
You got it. I work out 3 times a week. It sounds much more natural and energetic.
And I can be specific, right?
Of course, I go jogging, I lift small weights, or I do yoga. Remember that old saying, an apple a day keeps the doctor away? It's all about those small, consistent, healthy habits.
No, conversational wellness is all about action verbs and words that show consistency and effort, not perfection.
Exactly. And that consistency is what separates successful learners from frustrated ones. Which brings us to our next section, the danger zone.
Ooh, sounds scary. I have a feeling the biggest mistake is trying to do too much too fast.
You absolutely nailed it. We call this the B1, B2 trap, or jargon overload. We have to warn everyone listening, do not try to learn overly specialized vocabulary that is way above your A1, A2 level.
But why is that so dangerous? If someone's really motivated, isn't more learning better?
Not always. Because when a beginner is exposed to that super specialized language, the kind meant for doctors and nurses, it causes what we call lexical overload.
Lexical overload.
Think of your brain like a small suitcase. If you try to shove huge, heavy, technical textbooks inside, there's no room left for the simple, functional clothes you actually need to wear every single day.
So trying to learn medical jargon is like trying to lift 100 kilograms when you should be practicing with 10. You just get hurt.
Perfect analogy. You get exhausted, you get frustrated, and you quit learning the easy, important stuff. You go looking at resources for B2 or C1 healthcare workers, you'll see words like albendazole, dysmenorrhea, menorrhagia.
Whoa! My affective filter is shooting up just hearing those words. I feel instant anxiety.
I know, right? And that frustration, that anxiety, it blocks you from learning the truly essential phrases like fever, nauseous, dizzy, and stomach ache. Stick to the basics that will help you in 95% of real-world situations. Save the specialty terms for when you enroll in medical school.
That is such critical advice. Focus on the core vocabulary that keeps you safe.
And here's another tip about consistency and avoiding that feeling of being overwhelmed. It's the power of walking versus running.
We talked about working out. Does that mean everyone needs to go run a marathon?
Not at all.
Yeah.
This is the small change principle. Getting healthy doesn't have to be this huge, intimidating effort. The sources we looked at all say the same thing. Even if you don't run, walking is fantastic exercise.
Just walk.
Just 20 or 30 minutes of brisk walking a day is enough to really help your body and your heart. And this applies directly to learning English. You don't need one giant 5-hour study session once a week. You need 30 minutes of consistent effort every day.
Consistency, not intensity. And find what you love. Because if you love it, you'll actually do it. If you love to dance, then dance.
Exactly. And that leads to our final tip, the ultimate fast learning secret, which actually sounds like the opposite of effort. We call it the rest paradox.
Rest. But I feel like I need to be studying every single waking minute if I want to get better fast.
That's a very common belief, but it's actually wrong. Think of your brain like a muscle, or maybe like a computer. Studying English is hard work, and your brain gets tired.
My brain definitely felt tired after trying to learn abdominal cavity.
The science on this is crystal clear. A tired brain learns slowly. A happy, rested brain learns fast. We all fall into this bad habit of staying up late, scrolling on our phones, and we forget that sleep is healing. And for language learning, Sleep is organizing.
Organizing. What does it organize?
Well, when you're learning all this new vocabulary like 9 out of 10 or cutting down on sugar, your brain is taking in all this new unstructured data. It needs time to file that data away correctly.
So, where do the new words go when I'm sleeping?
While you sleep, your brain performs something called memory consolidation. It organizes the new knowledge, it connects it to things you already know, and it strengthens those new pathways. It turns what you just learned into long-term memory.
So, sleep isn't lazy, it's actually part of the study plan.
It's the most important part of any fast learning plan. Sleeping well, like 7 to 8 hours, is how your brain takes all those power phrases we learned today and makes them permanent, ready for you to use instantly, even when your effective filter is high.
Wow. Okay, I'm making sleep my new top study priority.
That's the foundation. Now, you ready to wrap this up? Let's do a rapid-fire review of the most critical functional phrases from today.
I am ready. Test my newly organized, well-rested brain.
Let's do it. Number 1. How do you communicate emergency-level pain and cut through any language barrier?
9 out of 10 on the pain scale. And I have to use the word severe.
Perfect. How do you describe continuous pain in your back?
I have a backache.
And what about a sharp pain in your ankle?
My ankle hurts.
Excellent. Get the ache versus hurts distinction. Now, what structure do you use to tell a doctor your fatigue started last week and it's still going?
I've been feeling tired since Monday, or for 7 days.
Fantastic use of since and for. Last one. What's the natural way to say you're trying to eat healthier?
I'm cutting down on sugar, or I'm trying to eat better.
Flawless. You are officially equipped with the high-stakes English that really matters for your health.
I'm feeling so much more confident now. And that means it's time for the challenge. We want you, our listener, to use one of the new phrases you learned today.
Which one?
Try using the I'm cutting down on phrase or the since for structure. Talk about a habit, good or bad, with a family member, a friend, maybe even your pet.
I love that. You could tell your cat, I've been giving you these fancy treats since this morning.
Or tell your dog, okay, I'm cutting down on the belly rubs, but just for today. Now that is productive language practice.
If this deep dive helped you feel more confident about managing your health and communicating in English, please hit that like button and subscribe to Global English Podcast. Your support really does mean everything to us.
I'm smart